My name is Elara. I am 29 years old. I want to tell you my story. It is not an easy story to share. So if you can, please comment brave to give me a little courage. I live in a quiet seaside town. Life there always felt very simple and very safe. My world was like the hot, glowing glass on my pipe. It was bright, beautiful, and full of endless possibilities. But I never imagined how one person would change everything. One beautiful lie would soon break my world into 1,000 tiny pieces. Before I met him, my glass studio was my entire world. It was a peaceful place, filled with the smell of salt air and the heat of the furnace. I spent my days with my face glowing from the fire. I shaped colorful vases and delicate bowls. My life was very calm. I truly thought I was happy with my art. Then one sunny afternoon, Marcus walked into my shop. He told me he was an architect. He said he was looking for new inspiration in our small coastal village. Marcus was different from anyone I had ever met. He did not just look at my work, he really saw it. I still remember the very first thing he said to me. "You capture the sunlight in your hands," he whispered. He was looking at a blue vase I had just finished. It was a moment I will never forget. Soon, Marcus started visiting me every single day. Sometimes he brought me hot tea. Other times he just brought his quiet company. He sat for many hours while I worked. He never said very much. He just watched me, and he listened. He listened to my stories about the glass and the sand. He heard all about my big dreams and the quiet life I loved. I used to love the sound of his deep voice. With Marcus, I felt seen. I felt very safe. He talked about our future together all the time. An architect and a glass artist. He told me our lives would be a masterpiece of design and love. I believed every word he said. I thought our love was a perfect creation. It felt unique and very special. But now I finally know the truth. It was not a masterpiece at all. It was just a perfect copy of a story he had told many times before. Slowly, the way he spoke began to change. His words used to feel like a warm blanket. But then they started to have sharp edges. One day I made a small, simple glass bird. I loved the shape of it. It gave me a very peaceful feeling. I showed the bird to Marcus. My heart was full of pride. He looked at it for a long, quiet moment. Then he spoke. "It is nice, Elara, but it is too simple. People in the big city want something much more dramatic." His voice was very gentle, but I felt a small crack in my confidence. The next week, he brought me a gift. It was a set of new tools from the city. They were very bright and very expensive. I felt a rush of hope in my heart. For a moment, I thought he really supported me. I told myself, maybe he is just trying to help me grow. I believed this was just a small misunderstanding. A month later, something wonderful happened. A small gallery in our town sent me a beautiful letter. They wanted to give me my very own exhibition. My hands were shaking as I read the words. It was my biggest dream come true. I ran to show Marcus the letter immediately. My face was bright with a huge smile. He read the letter slowly. But his face did not change at all. He did not smile back at me. "A local gallery?" he asked. His voice was very flat and cold. Elara, your talent is much bigger than this little town. Don't waste your time here. His words felt like ice on my skin. I felt very small and very foolish. My dreams suddenly felt like a mistake. After that day, I said nothing more about the gallery exhibition. I just stayed quiet. Every day started to feel exactly the same. I worked in silence inside my glass studio. The glass felt heavy and difficult in my hands. The joy of creating was completely gone. I thought his words were the most painful part of our love. But I was wrong. I was completely wrong. That was only the beginning of the nightmare. It was a cold afternoon, and a soft rain was falling outside. The rain was tapping gently against the glass windows of my studio. Usually, that sound made me feel very calm and happy, but that day was different. That was the day everything changed forever. A woman I had never seen before stood at my door. She was holding a small, wet umbrella. Her eyes looked very tired and very sad. I invited her to come inside. She did not look at me at first. Her eyes were fixed on one thing only. It was a beautiful glass sculpture on my main shelf. It was the one Marcus told me was his favorite piece. My hands started to shake, and I did not know why. I just felt a cold knot forming deep in my stomach. The woman finally looked me in the eyes. "My name is Maya," she said. Her voice was very quiet, almost like a whisper. "I saw your work online. This sculpture, it is truly beautiful." She paused, taking a deep breath. Marcus gave my sister a sketch of this exact design. My heart stopped beating for a second. I could not speak. Maya reached into her bag and pulled out a small piece of folded paper. I saw the handwriting. It was Marcus's handwriting. It was the same sketch he had drawn for me. The same words were on the back. Maya looked at me with sad, knowing eyes. "He is not married, Elara," she said softly, "but he is engaged to my sister." After Maya left, the studio felt cold and empty. The sound of the rain was the only thing I could hear. I stood there for a long time. I looked at the two identical sketches on my workbench. One was mine. The other belonged to a woman I would never meet. I thought I would cry, but no tears came. The deep sadness I felt slowly washed away. Something else took its place, something cold and hard like stone. In that quiet moment, I knew exactly what I had to do. I sent Marcus a very simple message. It said, "Please come to the studio tonight." He arrived a few hours later. He walked in with that same gentle smile on his face. He was holding a single red flower in his hand. He did not know that I knew his secret. For a very long time, I said nothing at all. I just stood there and looked at him. I felt absolutely nothing. The man I thought I loved was now a complete stranger to me. On the table, I had placed the two pieces of paper side by side. My sketch and the sister's sketch were there for him to see. Marcus saw them. His smile disappeared instantly. My voice was very quiet, but it did not shake. "Which one of us did you draw this for, Marcus?" I asked him softly. "Or is there a third person?" His face turned very pale, like a ghost. He started to speak right away. His voice was very quick and very nervous. "Elara, please listen to me. It is not what you think. but I did not listen. I did not want to hear another beautiful lie from his lips. I turned away from him. My eyes found the large glass sculpture on the shelf, the one he called my masterpiece. I walked over to it slowly. My hands were very steady. I was not afraid. I picked up the smooth, cold glass, and then I let it fall to the floor. It shattered into 100 tiny, sharp pieces, just like all of his lies. The sound of the breaking glass filled the entire room. It was very loud. Then suddenly everything was quiet. A deep, heavy silence filled the studio. Marcus just stared at the broken pieces on the floor. He could not move. His mouth was open, but no words came out. The charming architect was gone. The man with the gentle smile was no longer there. He looked very different now. In his place was just a small, scared man. He slowly looked up from the floor. He looked at me. There was no love in his eyes. There was no sadness either. I saw only fear. It was the fear of being caught in his own trap. I did not say another word to him. I did not need to say anything at all. I just stood there watching him. The silence was my only answer to his lies. The broken glass on the floor was my final answer too. Marcus took one step back, then he took another step. He turned around. He walked out the door without looking back once. He was gone. He packed his bags that very night. He did not say goodbye to anyone. He just disappeared from my town and from my life forever. He left without a word. He was like a ghost who was never really there. After he was gone, the studio was finally quiet again. It was a good kind of quiet. The air felt very clean again. It felt like the air after a long, heavy storm. I did not try to clean up the broken glass pieces, not that night. I made myself a warm cup of tea. I sat on the floor in the middle of my studio. I looked at the sharp, broken edges of the glass. They were glittering under the light. There were no more tears in my eyes. There was no more anger in my heart. I just felt empty, but it was a very clean kind of empty. It was the feeling of a room after all the old furniture has been moved out. Slowly, another feeling started to grow in that empty space. It was small at first, but it was very warm. It was the feeling of freedom. I took a deep breath. For the first time in a long time, I could breathe. The next morning, I woke up with the sun. I went back to my studio immediately. I started to pick up the broken glass pieces. I picked them up one by one. My hands were very careful. I did not throw the broken pieces away into the trash. I looked at the sharp shards in my hand. Deep inside my heart, I knew what to do. I decided to make something brand new. I wanted to turn my pain into something beautiful. Many months passed by. The seasons changed outside my studio window, but I barely noticed. As I called the local gallery, I politely told them no to their offer for an exhibition. I told them my work was not ready, not yet. I had much more work to do. I spent many long, quiet days and nights at my furnace, but I was not working with new, perfect glass. I was working with the broken pieces. I was using the pieces of the shattered sculpture that Marcus had destroyed. I learned an old, beautiful technique. It was a way to mend broken things. I used lines of liquid gold to join the glass pieces back together. My hands worked very carefully and very patiently for many hours. I put every single broken piece back exactly where it belonged. The sculpture was not the same as it was before. It was different. But I thought it was much more beautiful now. Its golden scars told a real story. I made a whole collection of glass like that. I was very proud of it. I made bowls with golden cracks and plates that were once broken. Now they were made strong again. Each new creation told a part of my own story. It was a story of breaking and a story of deep pain, but it was also a story of healing and finally finding peace. When I was finally finished, I did not wait for someone to find me. I rented a small, empty space in the center of our town. I painted all the walls bright white. I put up my own sign. The sign said, "Broken Pieces, an exhibition by Elara." It looked perfect. On the opening night, the small room was full of many people. They walked very slowly. They looked at my work in total silence. I knew they did not just see glass. They saw a story of life. They saw the beauty in something that was once broken and fixed. I stood among my creations. The golden lines were shining in the soft light, and for the first time in a very long time, I smiled a real smile. It was a warm smile that came from deep inside me. I was not waiting for anyone to save me or love me. I was not a broken piece. I was whole once again. Looking back, I see that the pain was a very important teacher. It taught me something that I will never forget. It was a powerful lesson. I learned that true value does not come from another person's praise. It comes from your own hands and your own voice. True peace must be found inside yourself. You must look within. You cannot find peace in another person's heart. I know that now. That is the most beautiful thing I have ever created. Zilara's story is a powerful truth for our modern world today. Her journey is not just about a broken heart or a lie. It is about recognizing emotional manipulation. This is very real. Here at Peak English Stories, we see a big lesson in Marcus's actions. His pattern of acting very loving and then controlling is a warning. It is a way to slowly take away a person's confidence. In any relationship, constant criticism is a sign of trouble. If someone makes you doubt yourself, we must see it as a warning sign. This story also shows us the power of courage and truth. The truth was revealed because Maya chose to speak up for her sister. She did not stay silent. In our world today, it is easy to hide, but her actions remind us to trust our feelings and support each other. We encourage you to protect what makes you unique and special. Protect your art, your ideas, and your own voice. Never let anyone make your passion feel small or unimportant. Your worth is very important, and it can never be taken away. What did you think of Elara's final choice? Tell us what you think in the comments below. You can also simply comment 1 if you believe Elara won by finding herself. Comment 0 if you think she should have tried to find a new love. If Elara's journey helped you, Please subscribe to Fluent Harbor. Your support helps us continue our work. Thank you for being here today.